Alright, I'm today going to pick all of our peppers that are loaded down on our pepper plants. Here's Tabasco peppers. We're going to make some homemade Tabasco sauce, a pepper sauce, hot sauce. This is going to be actually a fermented hot sauce. We're going to pick all these peppers off the plant like so, and I'm going to get picking. I also have a few other varieties of peppers here. I'm going to pick and get this picked and start making this some homemade hot sauce. Here's the Tabasco peppers we have. These here are just a banana pepper that's been vine ripened. Probably won't add those. Then over here we have, these are actually habanero peppers. I may add a few too. And then down here on this plant is a poblano plant. The poblano's got not very large, but they are vine ripened red. So I may add a few of those to have a unique tasting fermented hot sauce. So I'm going to get all these picked here and start making our fermented hot sauce. Alright, so I got all of the peppers picked here, as you can see. Quite a few here. I'm going to wash these really well. Go through these, make sure they're all good to use. I'm going to use a variety of peppers here. Mostly these are the Tabasco peppers that we'll be using, but also we'll throw in some few habaneros, and I have a little bit of vine ripened poblano peppers. So that's what we're going to use to make our pepper mash, the first step in our homemade Tabasco sauce. So I'm going to get these washed to make sure our sink is nice and clean, and we'll fill that up with water and get these really cleaned up before we start making our pepper mash. Alright, so we got the peppers in the sink with some water here. You really want to make sure your peppers are nice and clean. We don't want any dirt or anything from the garden that we just picked out of the garden here. So we'll agitate these really well and let this set for a few minutes, and all the dirt and particles will fall to the bottom, and then we can just pick out the peppers from the top. And as I go through here, I'll pick out some of these green peppers. We won't use these for our pepper sauce. We want to use as many as we can that are fully ripened or red in our pepper sauce. So we'll get these washed out, pick out some bad peppers here, and next is to cut up the stems. We'll cut all the stems off all these peppers and get our mash going. Alright, so as you can see, I'm picking through the peppers here, and these are all the Tabasco peppers. And over here we've got a variety of peppers. Habanero, there's some a few serranos, jalapenos, poblanos, and a few bell peppers that I'm going to also throw in there just for add a little volume. So that is what we're going to do. But let me show you this over here. As you can see, this, you let these peppers set a few minutes, and if I pull this carefully away, you can see in the bottom of the water, in the bottom of the sink here, all the dirt has settled to the bottom, and you're left with clean peppers. Alright, so all I'm going to do is take these peppers and start cutting the stems off of them, like so. Take a little bit of time. If you want, wear some gloves. A lot of people like to wear gloves so their hands don't burn up too much. I'm kind of used to it, so it's no big deal for me. So we're going to cut all the stems off, go through these, make sure all these peppers are good, and then we'll blend them up and make our pepper mash. Now all these Tabasco peppers here are actually only from one plant, so we got quite a few. As you can see, some of them are a little bit less ripened, fully mature than others. We'll add these in to the pepper sauce. It should be okay, but really you want to mainly use fully ripened peppers. So here's a little bit of difference in coloration. Now you can use any kind of pepper to make a hot sauce with. We're going to use a blend of peppers here, mainly the Tabasco pepper as you see here, but any pepper will do. Alright, so now the next step is we're going to grind up our peppers that I've got here. As you can see, we've got them all cleaned, washed, cut the stems off of, and those were the Tabasco. And then here I've got some habaneros, poblanos, and serranos, and a few jalapenos, just a few of those, just to give it a more complex flavor, unique hot sauce here we're going to make. So to begin the fermentation, the first step is we got to blend up all of our peppers to make our pepper mash. You can use a food processor, a blender, anything you got to really blend these up nice and well. So I'm just going to throw some of these in here, and we're going to mix this. I'll throw a few of these peppers here to get this all blended together. I've left the seeds intact on the pepper, so all the seeds are here. So we're just going to put the lid on and pulse this. Use our stomper here to I'm going to go ahead and add the rest of the peppers. This is working really well. Okay, for the next step is to add the salt. So what we want to do is add 2% of whatever it weighs. So we're going to weigh out this mash. We'll tear this bowl here like so and see how much our mash weighs. Alright, so we got 2.3 pounds of mash. Let me convert this to grams. That'll be a little bit easier to calculate out. That will give me 1,022 grams of mash. We'll times that by 2%. That will give me how much salt I need to add, which will be 20 grams of salt we will add to our mash. Alright, so I'm going to use some kosher salt. You could use sea salt, just do not use table salt. So we're going to add our salt to our mixture here, and then we will put it in our glass jar. So here's our mash, nicely ground up, chopped up, nice fine pulp. We'll let this ferment. Put this in our glass jar, and we're going to cover it with a cheesecloth. Alright, so I got my pepper mash in our jars. It would not fit all in one jar, so I just separated them into 2 jars. Give a little space for the fermentation and the bubbling to hopefully happen. Give a little air space so it doesn't overflow. I don't want to fill it all the way to the top. So what we'll do is check this every couple of days, make sure there's no mold forming on top. We'll just skim it off with a spoon, and we'll be set. Now what I'm going to do is, so there's not any dust or anything fall in here, but we do not want to seal it, is what I'm going to do is use some cheesecloth. You could use a rubber band. I got my wife's little hair dilly. You can just tie it around, hold it in place, and then there'll be air will be able to enter, and we'll keep our mash from getting any dust or anything from falling in it. So we're just going to set this in a spot and let that ferment. Probably going to ferment it for probably at least a month, and we'll check on it, and then we'll add some vinegar to it and strain it and bottle it and so on. So Thanks for watching. Subscribe so you can see our progress and how we do on our fermented homemade hot sauce.